My unvaxxed toddler and I have whooping cough. I feel so guilty. Like, could I have prevented this with a vaccine? I feel like a terrible mother. This is possibly the most character development I've seen in an anti-vaxxer. I mean, she's still posting this to a holistic Facebook page, so she clearly doesn't regret not getting vaccinated that much. But genuinely, yes, this could have been avoided. I really hope this is a learning moment. Genuinely, for the sake of the child and for the sake of the child not having to go through stuff like this in the future, I genuinely hope this is learned from. Special thank you to my YouTube members and patrons for supporting the channel and supporting my content. How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another subreddit video. Today we are going to be returning to r/vaxxhappened because it's been a little while and the anti-vaxxers are still coming. They don't stop. They're still coming. They're still saying that COVID vaccines are gonna kill everyone. They're still saying that mRNA is dangerous. I was supposed to have died like a year ago going by the anti-vaxxers, but you know, those goalposts have been shifted. So let's just go and take a look, shall we? I'm here at the CDC Museum in Atlanta. This poster was created before they figured out that the smallpox vaccine was too deadly to give to people. Imagine being so confidently incorrect. I know there's a subreddit for confidently incorrect, but like, you don't get much more incorrect than this. To start with, the smallpox vaccine wasn't decided it was too deadly to give to people. Smallpox was eradicated by the vaccine. It doesn't exist anymore. That's why people aren't vaccinated for smallpox anymore. We don't really need that vaccine because it doesn't exist, because vaccines eradicated it. No one was like, man, this vaccine sure is dangerous. That just didn't happen. So, but also, why is an anti-vaxxer going to a CDC museum? Just to post it on Twitter, I guess. Literally, that's it, isn't it? It's for the anti-vax Twitter clout. Like, that's the whole reason. Stop making me take that shit. I can only be saved by God. No, I needn't it. I can just pray for God. Oh Lord, I prayed and asked you. Why did you not help me? I sent scientists to make masks, vaccines, medicines, and hospitals for you to heal already, but you refused. Yeah, there's an old adage about this, which I'll go into, but I also wanted to mention there is actually a scripture, I believe, that states, do not test God your Lord, which effectively means when there are resources there for you to help yourself, when you can heal yourself, and when you can help yourself, do not rely on God to do it for you, okay? If you believe in God, you believe that God has made scientists. You believe that he has made them smart and given them the resources and the know-how to create medicines and vaccines. If you refuse those and say that all you need is to pray to God, you are actively shunning the gift that God has given the world, that is medical professionals. The old story I mentioned was about, there was a dude in a flood, right? And he's standing on top of his house and it's flooded, and a boat comes by and says, hey, do you need some help? You're stranded on the roof of your house in this flood. And the guy goes, don't worry, God will provide. And the boat leaves. A couple of hours later, the water is up to his knees, and another boat comes by and says, hey, we see that you're stranded out here. Would you like some help? And he says, don't worry, God will provide. And then later on, it's up to his neck now, and he's almost under, and a helicopter comes by and says, hey, would you like to be airlifted out of here? It's pretty dangerous. And he says, don't worry, God will provide. So he drowns and he goes to heaven and goes to God and says, hey God, what gives? I waited for you, I prayed for you, and you let me drown. And God says, I sent you 2 boats and a helicopter. What more could you want? This is exactly that. My autistic, non-verbal son began speaking after detoxing with zeolite. You should give it a shot. Aluminium and silicon won't affect autism symptoms. In fact, zeolite is an active ingredient in laundry detergents. This is harmful misinfo. This kind of misinfo always baffles me, okay? Because the first person with the black censorship of their name is very clearly lying, right? 100% this is just a flat out, straight up lie. I don't even know if they have a son, but this did not happen. They spread this misinfo, claiming that it's true by making up anecdotes, okay? They're not even actual anecdotes, they are made up anecdotes. And they claim that this is a legit thing and tell everybody to go out and do this, expecting that their made up anecdote will just happen to come true. Probably because they read about it online. I don't understand lying and passing it as off as fact in the hope that it's actually true when there are actual scientific studies and evidence for other things that have been proven to help people. Legitimately, the anti-vax movement is, I could trust science or I could lie. I'm gonna believe my own lies. How do you gaslight yourself into this position? I do not understand. Study shown 10% of those who received mRNA vaccines developed new autoimmune disease. I am the corresponding author of this study, and what you claimed above is completely wrong. Not a single vaccinated individual in our study was noted to have developed a new autoimmune disease. This is not what figure S4B shows. This is exactly what we mean when we say that the do your own research crowd doesn't have the needed education to actually assess what that research means, okay? Just because you can look up a study doesn't mean you can understand it. And that is so evident, so incredibly evident by the fact that an anti-vaxxer used a graph and the person who wrote the study had to correct them that they were just completely flat out wrong. You can do your own research, but if you don't have scientific education to understand what that actually means, you're going to be misunderstanding it. You're going to get that research wrong. And we've been saying this from the very beginning. And they just keep posting stuff like this that is just wrong and going, I did my own research. You researched wrong. I am on board a Delta flight right now. The person sitting next to me in first class refused $100,000 to remove her mask for the entire flight. No joke. This was after I explained they don't work. She works for a pharma company. Okay, so first of all, this is a r/that happened moment. But second of all, pretending that this genuinely happened, I really want to, ignoring all of the anti-vax implications here, just so you're sat next to this man, okay? This man sits next to you and he goes, hey, I'll give you $100,000 if you remove your mask for the whole flight. You don't do it, do you? You don't say yes for a multitude of reasons. Reason one being that if a stranger offers you $100,000, you're going to immediately believe that they are BSing you, okay? No one is ever possibly going to believe that. You're already in first class in this situation, and then you have a creepy dude going, I'll give you $100,000 if you remove your mask. There's so many things wrong with that situation, but the first primary issue is that a stranger is offering you $100,000. It's a fact that after getting the mRNA jab, you shed the parasites for a solid month. Everywhere you go. Also sexually transmitted. Keep laughing, but parasites? What, do you think there are worms in the shot? Not worms, self-replicating, half-organic parasites. They clog your veins. They are calling it myocarditis. Nanotech. Sorry, how are they half-organic? What makes them... It's nanotech, but it's half-organic. They're just throwing out words in the hope that we believe something and going, it's a fact. I made this up, but it's a fact. Because as we all know, we can make up anything and claim it's fact on the internet, and I'll believe it. Breaking news, the lobbyists for the cattleman and pork associations in several states have confirmed they will be using mRNA vaccines in the pigs and cows this month. We must support Missouri HB 1169. It is literally the only chance we have to prevent this. No one knows the impacts of doing this, but we are all potentially facing the risk of being died suddenly if we don't stop this. Well, we do know the impacts and risks, and there's none. Well, you think you're gonna die from eating vaccinated meat? For starters, the vaccine's gonna be a very long time before the cattle is killed. They're not gonna vaccinate a cattle that they're slaughtering at the time, are they? You idiot. Disturbing news. mRNA vaxxed bacon and beef are on the way to us in weeks. Questions we should be asking. Can the mRNA be transferred by touching the raw meat accidentally? What effect will the mRNA have on the animal's health/quality of the meat and toxins within the meat? Certified organic meat allows all vaccinations, including GMO vaccines. Now go enjoy your mRNA burgers and don't ask questions. First of all, GMO vaccines don't exist. We don't have a single vaccine that alters your genetic makeup or DNA. They love claiming this. They claim this so regularly. They have zero evidence. There has not been a single study backed by anyone, backed by scientists or anti-vaxxers, not a single single study that has ever actually backed up a single vaccine altering anyone's DNA, and yet they still spout it like it's fact with no evidence. They have not got a single scrap of evidence ever to back this up, but they all just keep on parroting it. If I say it and someone else says it, it must be true. And then someone else says it. Now there's 3 people saying it, so we must be correct. Oh look, they've got another person saying it. It must be correct. Who needs scientific studies? Who needs evidence? If we can get enough people to say it, it'll just become true. It's exhausting existing with these kinds of people spreading misinformation at every single opportunity they can. It's exhausting. Hello everyone, I am new to this group and new to this place. I am looking for chiropractor for our family. I have 2 years old with eczema allergy. Looking for crunchiest chiro. We do not vaccine, they can't even spell vaccine, as well, so maybe someone who supports that as well. Also preferably around this area. Thanks in advance. Well, the first piece of advice I can give you is do not take a 2-year-old to a chiropractor ever. You do not understand how incredibly dangerous it is to have a fully grown adult popping and crunching the bones of an underdeveloped 2-year-old. They are still mostly made up of cartilage at that point. It is so dangerous. Chiropractors are one of the biggest examples of pseudoscience, but when people actually practice it on children, it's legitimately dangerous. Do not take a child to a chiropractor. Just don't. You will injure that child. Mexican president posts photo of what he claims is an elf. SS, if confirmed, the potential sighting of the Alex would represent the greatest major discovery of a mythical creature since the colossal squid. The Alex have been thought to carry and spread new illnesses, potentially being the actual source of the COVID-19 outbreak. Man, what even is conspiracy anymore? What is r/conspiracy? Like, it's always been alt-right nut jobs, but like, I mean, the Mexican president is an insane anti-vaxxer, right? The dude is a nut job and is now actually claiming he spotted an elf, and r/conspiracy is actually believing this. Do you genuinely think if these things have existed, we wouldn't know they exist? Okay, the discovery of the colossal squid was crazy, but it's a sea creature, okay? We don't live in the sea. Discovering sea creatures out to sea or in the deep sea is always possible because we don't know what's out there, because we can't go out there and just exist there, okay? We need a lot of equipment to find things like that. We can't even go that deep in the ocean without equipment being damaged. But the Alex lives on land. It lives in places that people live. How would we not have discovered this? It's the exact same thing with like Bigfoot. How would we not have discovered it? Not have found legitimate skeletons or had actual sightings, okay? We would know that they exist because they live on land in places we can actually walk and venture to. Oh man, I can't believe people actually believe that COVID was started by a Mexican elf. Suicide does not exclude the COVID-19 vaccine injury. Spike protein localizes in the brain and causes increased risk of neurological injury and mental health injury. There is no narrative. These are facts. There's no narrative. These are facts, he says after making it up. Once again, if we just make it up but write, this is a fact, it must be true. It's not a narrative. I'm definitely not making up a narrative because I wrote that it's a fact. And someone else also wrote that it's a fact, so it must be true, right? Genuinely, right? If you write something as fact, that doesn't make it fact. What? And the final post. This one's probably the one that annoys me the most out of all of these, okay? At First Health has my 6-year-old son broken ankle sitting in the cold outside because I refuse to allow them to force him or me to wear the racist, godless masks. They're still playing mask games, pretending they mean something, using them for social enforcement. End this now. So this man is forcing his 6-year-old injured child to sit out in the cold because he won't wear a mask. He also calls called them racist and godless, which is a stretch, a real stretch. But it's not the hospital forcing your son to sit out in the cold. It's you, okay? This is a building full of vulnerable, sick people who can spread illness and contract illness. In a building where all the ill people go. Masks in a pandemic that can kill people are crucial, and you are forcing your injured 6-year-old to sit in the cold because you are too proud. All children deserve a parent, but not all parents deserve children. This one actually annoys me. This parent is awful. You are awful to your child. And that's where I'm going to end the video, everybody. And breathe. If you want to support me in making more content like this, then I have a Patreon in the description down below, or equally you can click that join button on the channel to support me. Did this annoy you? Because this sure annoyed me. Good grief. Special thank you to all of the people that do support me, all of the people that make content like this so much easier to make, so much more possible to make. I'm going to keep making content whether I have supporters or not, but having the support makes it so much easier for me to do this. So genuinely, thank you guys so much to everyone that does support me. You are all amazing people. Other than that, thank you so much for watching this video, everybody. I hope you enjoyed, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Peace out.